Coach Driving Diaries number 10. So, it's been a while. I'll explain why shortly and explain what we're doing in a moment as well. But let's start from the start as we always do. So, getting up at 5:15 and then going down for breakfast and coffee, etc. You know the routine now, so I'm going to cut through that. And then into the car. With a bit of ice on the windscreen, which didn't expect that on this day in April. But yeah, very cold start, but certainly warmed up in the day though later on. Then pulled into the petrol station at the Budgeon's Garage at Yarnbrook, mostly for Greg's. Got myself and my colleague a latte. It's running with my colleague, not as a two-man, but a two-coach job we're on today. So at the yard, start up the coach and then put my card in. See, putting the card in at just gone 6:20. And then doing a manual entry, of course, to show rest from the last time, which was from the day before last. Can't remember what I actually did that day without looking at my diary. But nonetheless, all I have to do is just press OK to clear that as a manual entry for rest. And then setting up the lights for the walk around check. And part of the walk around check also involves checking the emergency exits, obviously. That'd be the front and middle on this coach, or the rear door if it's one of our older ones. Here's just a demonstration of me checking the middle door, and then I'd use the button in the cab to reset it, and then use the emergency switch on the inside to check that works as well. So here we are, travelling down the A36 heading to Southampton. Before I get on to what we're doing today, just a brief explanation. I know some of you are wondering if I'm doing any more videos. I am obviously releasing this one, despite the fact that even this is a bit shoddy. I know the camera angle was a bit off. That's mostly because I sort of rushed it a bit and didn't get this properly. But nonetheless, hopefully I do apologise for that. It has been a while. It's been very busy. I've had my own holidays and Chandler's holiday tours as well. Also, the past two videos I did were on Plas Pencaithley. One in the Irizar and one in the Temsa. And both were shocking, to be honest. The Irizar one really didn't work. I had the aircon blast going as well, and all you got was just the noise from that, and you couldn't really hear me well. Then the camera moved over off the headboard a bit, so face downwards. Yeah, the whole thing, just I thought, well, we'll just scrap that. So in the end, tried another one with the head cam in the Temsa, like this one. It was set up a bit better, but I forgot, well, I didn't forget, somehow the auto stabilization turned off. I don't know why. I don't touch it, so I must have accidentally pressed something at some point. So you ended up with a clip like this. As you can see, it's very shaky. It really doesn't work. I've still got the clips anyway, but I can't release that. I mean, you get seasick after an hour, I think, watching that. As you can see, with it on, like it is at the minute, it does make a hell of a lot of difference. So on to what we are doing today. We are off to the cruise terminal at Southampton to do a day excursion. Well, actually two excursions. One I haven't done before. Two, I've done one. Sometimes I have a full day out with two different places, but this is two separate excursions. Show the schedule a bit later on and make a bit more sense. But basically, what we are doing is a day excursion for the cruise passengers. This is where they get off the boat, do an excursion, and then return back to the ship, and then they sail off to their next location. Sometimes they can have an excursion on their way home as well. I've done Southampton to Stonehenge before, and then off to Heathrow. But no, this one is basically a round trip. So what we're doing is a trip up to Stonehenge first, and they have a couple of hours there before returning back to the boat. We then turn around, have a new set of passengers for an afternoon tour of the New Forest with a visit at Lyndhurst. So we do Lyndhurst first, and then we return via the New Forest and Bewley back to the ship. So this is the approach to Southampton. I'm just nearing the docks now, so this is the last bit I'm going to film. I'm not going to film the road in through the security gate, etc. And there's no time to film on site either, because there'll be other passengers everywhere waiting for the coach and boarding all the other coaches as well. But we'll get on to the schedule for the day. So as you can see, we're booked to leave at 9 o'clock. We actually left 10 to 9 for a direct run to Stonehenge. Right, this is what is booked. And then we have a 2-hour visit to Stonehenge, reload the coach, and then a scenic return via the New Forest, which is the routes via Downton and Brook. This turned out to be the other way round. We actually did the scenic drive to Stonehenge and then drove directly back. What I was going to do at Stonehenge was put the GoPro in the front window, ready for the return for the scenic drive via the New Forest. This happened first, and completely forgot to set the camera up on the windscreen. Too busy loading the passengers, etc. So fortunately the Stonehenge return trip is completely non-existent. As you can see, there's 2 of us as well, above, both on the same schedule. So part 2, the second part of the tour. First, it's a very short drive to Southampton. Forgot that it's Southampton and New Forest, sorry. Where they do a walking tour. So as you can see, the transfer is only about 5 minutes, and then we're parked up for an hour. Easy. Then they reboard the coach at the Historic Wall, which is basically the coach park by the docks, out by what used to be the Holiday Inn. And then it's a coach journey transfer to Lyndhurst. So basically we just go down the A35, sorry, that's it. And then they have an hour or so there. And then it's a scenic drive via the New Forest. As I say, the route they do for this is via Bewley. And then return to the port. And then that's it. We both run empty back to the yard. So as I say, we didn't record the route, but basically this is the route we took to Stonehenge. As I said, we did the scenic drive first instead. So if you end up on one of these routes to Stonehenge via the New Forest, this is the route that they use. So it's basically you come out onto the M27 up to Junction 1 at Caddenham, and then you head up through to Brook, take the first left, follow that road all the way up until the next right turn, which is signed for Downton and Woodfalls. You then follow that road all the way through the Woodfalls and Downton until the end. You turn right at the traffic lights on the Bournemouth Salisbury Road 338, and then from there it depends what the guide wishes to do. Some of them prefer you to go through Salisbury, some prefer to do the as I call it, Salisbury Avoider, which is the route through Netherhampton to Wilton, which is the route I done, and then you take the A360 straight in to Stonehenge. So here we are at Stonehenge Coach Park. As you can see, it's pretty empty, though it did fill up a bit later on. And before you ask, no, I wasn't running with those signs in the front window. They're put on by the guides, because it's got the information on when we are leaving. It's quite interesting to note that this boat has a fixed time. They're still working on their own time. This is Germans, so they're working an hour ahead of us. Other ships will always change the clocks back when they're in UK, but this one is still running an hour ahead, so all the times are shifted up an hour. So there's many coaches here, usually London operators coming in and out of here as well. In the summer, August time, this can get very busy here. I think I've mentioned before that you used to get a free tea and coffee voucher from the cafe. But I can't remember if I mentioned that they stopped doing this, but either case they have. I think they stopped this the end of last summer. So rather than getting a tea or coffee voucher, you now get 20% off in the shop for anything that's food or drink. And I believe you get free entry to Stonehenge as well. That you'd have to confirm. If you've never been here before, then this is the visitor centre. The coach park bit is just behind us. The visitor centre and car park is off to the right. And you notice that we're not actually anywhere near Stonehenge. It's actually about a mile and a half away, if I remember rightly. Further where those tree lines are at the top distance, that's roughly the halfway marker towards the stones. So you can either walk it or you can get the shuttle bus. The shuttle bus, as you can see here, being loaded up. The queue on the right is the passengers off the various coaches. As you can see, it's a fairly lengthy queue. So got myself a coffee and then headed back to the coach and just chilled out for a bit until the passengers came back. And when they did, they're all on time, so we set off bang on time, 12 o'clock, and headed back to the port. This time, as I say, we were supposed to do the scenic drive now, but we headed straight back down the A36 to Southampton. So here we are back at the port. We have a 20-minute turnaround before setting back off again. So just quickly checking through the coach, making sure no one's left anything. Quickly use the loo as well before setting off on the next leg. And as you can see, it's pretty quiet at the moment, but these bays were full earlier this morning with various different coaches from different operators, mostly from London. Right, so the next part was the short trip to Southampton town, but we'll skip that part. It's not that much to document on that bit. So the next trip was out to Lyndhurst. As I say, it was a direct trip via the A35. And I was going to use this camera angle going into Lyndhurst Coach Park, just so you could see the tight approach going in. But that didn't quite work out. As you can see, the camera decided to fall off the window, so that didn't work as planned. So instead, I'll use this screenshot from Google Street View, just so you can get an idea. So this is the road going in. You can probably see on the sign on the left, there's some battle marks from various mirrors that have been scraping the sign going in. And here's the view from the road where you turn right into the coach park. So it is 2 lanes, but they're both one way. So you wouldn't use the right hand lane to go in. You'd go to the far left, but not too far left that your tail swing's going to hit the wall on the left. Just enough to get a good angle to go in. Obviously with the indicator on right, check your mirrors for any cars that are going to try and underpass on your inside. Most of them get the idea of what you're trying to do anyway. But that's the best way of angle of approach to go into the coach park. So they had about an hour's visit here, and then we left just about on time, 3:45, ready for our last leg, going back to the boat via Bewley. So leaving the coach park, going out, you don't go out the way we came in because it's a one-way system, so you go out the north end, still on the one-way system, but getting out isn't so bad than it is getting in. Still a little bit tight, probably a little bit daunting if it's your first time, but it's a little bit wider. You still got to watch your tail swing on the post on the left, watching the sign that's on the right hand side. But the way I've found comfortable for me is just getting my mirror close to this shop as I take this right turn, and then I know that my rear is clear of the post behind. And then we set off, and off we go. Oh, just outside of Lindhurst, we take a right onto the B3056 Bewley Road. And here's where the scenery starts for them. Obviously the guide is on the lookout for any ponies, any distance ones. You're expected to slow down so that they can have a good look at them. On a trip like this, obviously you are going slower than the limit. The limit's 40 anyway. I tend to sort of trot along at 30, which is a sensible sort of speed for this type of road anyway. But I do tend to, when I can find a suitable place, I'll pull in just to let some traffic go past, and then we can carry on at our own pace then without holding anyone else up. So further down, coming into the north side of Bewley, we take a left onto the B3054. And then just around the corner is a bus stop, so just going to pull in here just for a little bit, just to let some cars go past. It is the sort of late afternoon, early evening time, so I think there's a lot of cars going home, which is probably otherwise a few cars about. And then we can just take a trundle heading out of Bewley. Got a nice view there on the right hand side, and then we head off, and this road eventually ends up on the Hythe bypass. So further up the road, I catch up my colleague, wondering why he's come to a stop and running slow. But turns out it's because the New Forest donkeys that are just casually mooching about in the middle of the road, as they do. Not the first time I've seen this. I've seen some of these donkeys, not here, but on the other road up near Downton, doing the same thing, just sitting in the middle of the road, minding their own business. As they do, they tend to sort of think they own the road, which is quite funny. And of course, the passengers also like this, and they find it quite funny as well. So then we reach the Hythe bypass, which is the A326. So we take that road. We finished the New Forest tour now. Now just heading back to Southampton. So we just head northbound on this road up into Totton. And then we rejoin the A35 and head straight to the docks at Southampton. So here we are, back at this ship, arriving a few minutes early. We were due back at 6:30, but we got back about 20 past, quarter past or so. So that was good. So what to do now is just to unload the passengers, do a quick check through just to make sure no one's left anything behind, and then set off empty back to the yard. Don't need a break, got plenty of driving time left. So running back was pretty straightforward, just up the A36 and a bit the A350 through Westbury, coming through the slag lane, the bus lane, and into the yard. So there we are, clocking off at 8 o'clock on the dot, taking the card out, and that is the end of this episode. So I really hope you enjoyed it. I know, as I say, it's been a while. Hopefully I'll have another one at some point soon. Also, I suspect throughout the summer we'll probably be doing some of the Heathrow transfers from Southampton. So if I can, possibly I shall cover a shift like that as well. So anyway, thank you very much. Hope you liked it. And like it and subscribe as always for more of these types of videos. And you can follow me on the Facebook page I have. Just search for Coach Driver James. Covers some of my other trips that I do out as well. So anyway, until next time, I shall see you on the next video. Take care, thank you, and goodbye.